Hey everyone. Today's episode of Masters of the Air, episode 4, will be a short one just because I am not feeling all too well. I am getting over something. So if I sound different, now you know. But also, this episode does not have a lot to go on, in my opinion. I didn't really like or care much for this episode, so I will tell you why. So the episode starts back off in Africa, possibly a few days after the Regensburg mission and the men being picked up by the 12th Army Air Corps. We now jump to the one kid who parachuted from the B 17. He is helped by the Belgian or French partisans, is taken to some pub and meets one of his crew members and a new guy from the 506. The French are basically interrogating these guys, asking them all these questions, and they act like they're going to start helping them. But then immediately the one shoots the 506 guy in the head. Uh, I kind of wish they showed something to reveal that because they claimed he was a Nazi spy. So I kind of wish there was something more obvious to say that he possibly was, like, and he was just hiding um, all that information, but we'll never know now. But basically, after that incident, we are now back in England. So all the crew are there, back from Africa, and they notice one of their, I guess, buddies, Captain Dye, just completed 25 missions, which is a rare feat. So he gets to go home with his crew for just a few days, um, as like a reward. And there's a big party thrown just to help boost morale, gain inspiration. But at this party, it is then known that we find out there are only 11 crews left out of the 35 that left Greenland in episode 1. So we're only at 11 now. Uh, we are now too introduced to some new faces who tell Buck and Bucky they are so eager for a combat mission. Buck wishes them well, but Bucky seems angry and tells them in a metaphor that since they want to do something, like against Hitler, they want to do something to help the war. Bucky kind of says, "Oh, you'll do something," which I think is like a quick thing, saying you'll just die, you'll be dead. That one rookie pilot kind of comes back to Buck and Bucky and asks them, uh, well, no, he actually mentions that they have been on 20 missions already, or Buck has been on 21. So now we already are noticing a ginormous time jump because in my mind, they were just already on 3 missions in Regensburg. And all of a sudden, over like, say, this month, time jump that we are going to find out in the next scene, they already had over 20 missions or about 20 missions. I kind of wish they showed us this because that kind of just makes me a little angry and a little annoyed because I want to see a lot of these missions. I know they can't show everything, but a huge time jump like that kind of seems off-putting, especially like after Regensburg where they lose a lot of the guys. Um, but it just seems that they're skipping a ton of material. But then again, we kind of notice the guy again asks Bucky and Bucky for advice, and they just kind of tell him to stay alive, because they kind of know anything is possible up there. It's a war zone. It's hell. But Bucky though mentions to survive just 11 missions or up to 11 missions, just to beat the odds of surviving or not really surviving that short amount of time. So that kind of puts the rookie pilot off guard by that. But I can kind of see that I was right, that this little scene does remind me of Band of Brothers, where some of the guys are pushing the rookies away because they don't want to see them die. They kind of hate being replaced. All the old crews are and the old guys are dying. New kids are showing up, replacing them, and they don't care really much for the older guys, or um, so much stuff can happen. So it just kind of really is affecting everyone's mindsets. Again, we time jump back to Belgium with the Belgian French partisans uh, now knowing that it's been a month, that the two Americans have been living in a like French uh, farmhouse, basically, around the countryside of Belgium and France for over a month, or about a month. And that's kind of where we figure out this huge time jump. So now the two members are taken to Paris by a girl, and eventually you'll find out she has a couple other females helping her that are kind of following loosely, is like almost like kind of spies, but just helping these Americans get back to England through France into Spain, and then from Spain, because Spain was neutral in World War II, to England. And that's kind of where we leave off with them. We go back now to the airfield. Buck and his crew are about to go bomb the U-boat facilities from episode one that they couldn't drop because of the officer, or the colonel, getting kind of cold feet, also because of the clouds and they couldn't see the target. Now they're kind of going back for revenge. Um, there are some engine issues on Buck's aircraft, but they're fixed and we just see him take off. Though it's not long later that uh, a lot of the bombers don't return, and one of those was Buck's, Crosby's, and Domingo, I believe his name is, or the one that owns Meatball from Craps. Um, that they went down with a bunch of other guys, and we don't know if chutes were pulled. Like, we kind of hear that possibly four chutes were pulled, but they mentioned different crews, and we don't know if that's Bucks or not. Um, it seemed that they were kind of saying that Buck and his crew did not pull any parachutes, or they just didn't see any. But they said they went down over the IP target. So we'll have to just see what happens in the next episode. Um, Bucky is all happy that they destroyed the U-Belt facilities from episode one. So he calls, and that's when he finds out that Buck is supposedly dead. Um, and this kind of really just angers him and pisses him off. So he kind of cancels his leave that he's been on for, I guess, a few days, or a day at least. Um, and in a way, he's kind of picking up now Buck's mentality of keeping on the mission to get it done so they can go home. So it seems like now, out of revenge for Buck, that he probably thinks is dead now, um, that he just wants to go on every mission. So we'll see that in the next episode. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it for this. I mean, the rest of the base is depressed that they lost Buck, Kraz, a bunch of the other guys. The rookies are bloodied and battered. They lost one of their crew member guys already in the first mission. And they are kind of like from episode one, where all the guys are just like so, like PTSD, tormented. They have those like looks on their faces, like, what the hell did we kind of sign ourselves up for? Um, so yeah, and that's kind of where we end, with just Bucky kind of calling in London, just saying I will be there tomorrow um, for the mission, and that's pretty much it. So this episode again wasn't the best in my opinion. I wish it was better, but hopefully episode 5 will be good. Um, I don't think Buck and the crew are dead. I think they just maybe pulled their chutes earlier, or later, like when they're under the clouds and everything where they couldn't be seen. Maybe Buck tried to land the aircraft because we don't know how badly damaged it was. Um, but yeah. So again, sorry, I'm just not feeling all that great. I will talk to you all in the next episode. Thank you.